Hey girls, we're back and today we're working on our wrists. So wrists are really important to be really strong, because what happens if our wrists aren't mobile and our wrists aren't strong, if we fall over and push our arms out, that means it's going to go to our elbow, and if our elbow is not strong enough, we're going to end up hurting our shoulder. So what we really want to focus on is making every part of our arm really strong and stable. That always starts with our wrists, especially if you're doing things like with the barbell or dumbbells. You've got front rack, you've got overhead press, we've got burpees, push-ups, handstands. There's a lot of pressure on our wrists. If our wrists can't take it, it goes to our elbows. So let's really build up our strength through our wrists and warm them up. I'm going to start with some wrist cars today. So you're going to pull your elbow into your rib cage, forearm facing up, and you're going to go 5 really big slow circles one way. Trying to keep this in a nice straight line, so not curling your fingers up, and change directions. And swap sides. Can do this with a fist. Remember, the goal is to keep our forearm facing up. So pretend that you have a wine glass balancing on your forearm and you're not wobbling it or moving from your elbow. And curl the other way. Okay, now I like to go into a bit of a wrist flow. So what you'll do is just have your hands out in front, so quadruped, and we're just going to do some circles, keeping our elbow pits facing forward. So these are called elbow pits. Have your hands out in front, and we're just going to transfer weight all the way around our wrist from our shoulders. So as you can see, I'm moving from my shoulder, change directions. My weight is evenly spread across my hands. I'm not on the outside or on the inside. Weight everywhere. I'm going to turn my fingers out to the side. I'm just going to rock side to side, but as you can see, my elbows are still facing forward. They're not twisted like this. So this means that when my elbow pits are like this, I'm fully extended. And when our elbows are fully extended, we're in our strongest position we can get. Often when our elbows bend, there's more pressure on our wrists and our shoulders because we're not fully locked out. Turn your fingers towards you. And again, just do a few circles. And back the other way. If you get sore elbows or it's really hard for you to lock out, working on your wrist mobility is going to be really important, because what's happening is your wrist can't handle it, so it goes to your elbows, and your elbows are trying to take the brunt of the work. So really work through those wrists. Now we're going to go for on our knuckles here, and what I want you to do is just roll the back of your hands on the ground, trying to keep your elbows facing forward and locked out, and then we're going to open and close into our fist. So often you might do this, but we really want to try to work on opening that up. Be quite light on the back of your hands. This is a hard position to get to, but really good to work through the back of your wrist. And we're going to take our hands back out in front of us. We're going to go for some wrist pulses. So what this looks like is, because we spend a lot of time on our wrist like this, we're not often building our wrist in the opposite position or the opposite direction. So what I want you to do is press up on your knuckles and back down. As you can see, my elbows are still facing forward, pushing up and down. Good, really strong through the fingers and the knuckles. This is a good way if you need to work on your front rack as well, to really work through your wrist both ways, because you want to be able to push up through your wrist and build up some strength there. So that's a little bit of a wrist flow that you can do to warm up. What I'm going to go over now is how to build up a little bit of strength in end range. So you're going to have your hand backwards, just do one at a time by your side, and you're going to push, evenly spread the weight through your fingers, and I want you to lean back so the bottom of your hand is still on the ground, elbows facing forward, but you're actually stretching through maybe the front and the back of your wrist. And we're going to hold this for about a minute. So we want to try to maintain the exact same position the whole time. So keep holding, lean back. Good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to push our fingers into the ground. So without moving, my fingertips are going white. I should be pushing as hard as I can. You'll feel tension through the wrist there for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax pushing, but don't move anything. Now what you're going to do is try to lift your fingers off the ground without bending your elbows. So see, my fingers are off the ground. I'm actively pulling through the back of my hand. If your fingers don't move, you can lean forward from your shoulder to help them pull up, but still actively pull from the back of your hand. So it might feel like it's going to cramp. Keep pulling. 3, 2, 1, relax. Now we're going to lean back a little bit more. You should be able to go a little bit further. So we're getting our body to remind ourselves that we've been in this end range before, and we're building up strength here by actively pushing and actively pulling from the ground. We're going to do it one more time. So push those hands into the ground for 5, 4, shaking is good, 3, 2, 1, relax. Now lift those fingers up, pull for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lean back a little bit more. See how I got more range, a lot further back than when I started. Keep holding, hold for 30 seconds so our body's reminded that we've been here before. This is also going to help if we fall over and need to support ourselves. So we're working on building up strength through our wrist, only our wrist, and slowly coming out of that. So our wrist is going to be quite stiff, so give it a few circles, a few fists, but that's our goal. We're going to do it on the other side as well. So fingers pointing backwards, leaning back. We're going to hold a stretch through our wrist here, so hold it here for about 1 minute. Remember, you can do this in front of the telly, you can do it when you need a break, you can do it as your warm up, you can do it whenever you need. And looking after our wrist is so important, especially as we get older. We tend to forget that we need to build up strength, because when we fall over, that's the first thing that goes down to help us. All right, push those fingers into the ground now. We're going to push for 10, 9, 8, 7. You can see me shaking. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Now pull your fingers up. 5, 4. Might feel like it's going to cramp on the back of your hand. Good. We want that. 3, 2, 1. Relax and lean back. So as you can see, I'm leaning back a little bit more now. We're getting more range. So strength in end range. So we've created a new range now. We're going to build up strength there. That's pushing down. Let's push for 5, 4. Push as hard as you can. Fingertips should be wide. 3, 2, 1, relax. Now pull off. Remember, if you need to move forward, you can move from your shoulder. Keep your elbows straight. 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest. Final stretch here. 30 seconds to remind ourselves we've been there. So as you can see, this is really going to help our burpees and our handstands and our front rack, because we're getting strong in both positions of our wrist. Handstands, the movement comes all from our hands. So being able to have a lot stronger wrists to help support our elbows and stay up in our position is going to help a lot. So slowly coming out of that one, give it a few circles. Girls, you can do your wrist warm-ups whenever you need, especially if you've got front rack coming up or handstands or burpees. Always do a bit of a wrist flow, so play this video, practice. And if you have any questions, let us know, but I'll see you back for some new exercises and stretches soon.